February 22nd, 2024, Athens, Georgia. 22-year-old nursing student Laken Riley goes out for her morning jog. She takes her regular route near Lake Herrick by the intramural fields on the University of Georgia campus, a popular location among runners. It's a safe, quiet place that takes you out of the hustle and bustle of campus life. Surrounded by nature, the perfect place for a workout. Laken was an experienced runner, competed in school runs and other running events such as the Athens Half Marathon. She would usually work out with friends, but on this day, she went out alone. When Laken does not return home at the expected time, her worried roommate reports her missing. University of Georgia police immediately respond and arrive on site at 12:20 p.m., less than 15 minutes after the call. They speak with Laken's roommate Sophia to gather information. The officers start searching along Laken's regular route, close to Lake Herrick. At 12:38, Officer Andrew Mahoney finds Laken in the woods near the trail. She was unconscious and not breathing. Officer Mahoney reported that she had visible injuries, and he suspected foul play. Mahoney and his colleague Corporal Bridges start CPR until emergency personnel arrive and take over. Tragically, it was all in vain. Laken was no longer alive. She had been murdered. The last phone number she called was 911, but Laken never got to speak to an operator. Police have declined requests from the media to release the recording. Investigators can decline to release a 911 call when a death is captured on the recording. A shockwave went through campus and the town of Athens. It had been decades since someone had been murdered on campus grounds. The people of Athens were horrified and scared. All classes on the University of Georgia's Athens campus and the college Laken attended, the Augusta University's College of Nursing, were canceled for the next day. Laken Hope Riley was born on January 10, 2002, in Marietta, Georgia, to her parents Jason and Allison. She had 2 sisters and a brother. Her parents divorced when she was very young, and Laken continued to live with her mom. But she had a loving relationship with her dad. Laken grew up to be an intelligent young woman. She excelled in academics and had a bright future ahead of her. After earning her undergraduate degree at UGA in 2023, she enrolled in nearby Augusta University's College of Nursing. Laken had always dreamed of becoming a nurse and wanted to work in a children's hospital. Caring for others was her biggest passion. She had worked so hard and was so close to fulfilling her lifelong dream. Friends and family describe Laken as kind-hearted, sweet, and a compassionate soul. Her infectious smile and contagious laugh lit up every room she entered. Her family wrote in her obituary that she was an amazing daughter, sister, friend, and an overall extraordinary person. Her sister Lauren wrote a heartbreaking tribute on Instagram and added 2 beautiful photos of Laken and herself. Quote, "The best sister and my built-in best friend from the very first second. This isn't fair, and I will never understand it. But I know you are in heaven with the man you loved most right now. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but it's all going to be for you from now on. I cannot wait to give you the biggest hug someday. I will miss and love you forever, Laken." End quote. Imagine the loss and pain her family and friends must be feeling. Some things are just too much. Too big. I can only hope her loved ones will continue to support each other, continue to carry each other through their darkest time. On Friday, one day after Laken was murdered, police announced that they had a suspect in custody. Campus security footage had led a police officer to approach a man called Jose Ibarra. He matched the description of the man caught on the campus security cameras. He presented the officer with a fake green card. Jeffrey Clark, chief of UGA police, explained that through Diego, police had found his brother Jose Ibarra. He too matched the description. The footage, key input from the community, and physical evidence tied him to the murder. Clark stated that there was no relationship between Laken and Jose Ibarra. The murder was a crime of opportunity, a murder without a specific motive or target. Even though Laken had done everything right, like running in daylight on campus grounds. She carried her phone, and she had told a friend where she would be. She was at the wrong place, at the wrong time. The cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma to the head. Jose Ibarra was charged with 10 charges, including felony murder, malice murder, false imprisonment, aggravated assault with intent to rape, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another. Chief Clark further stated that Jose Antonio Ibarra was a resident of Athens, but not a U.S. citizen. When asked for clarification, Clark said Ibarra's exact immigration status was not yet fully known. So here's what we know about the suspect. 26-year-old Jose Antonio Ibarra, originally from Venezuela, lived in an apartment complex about 1 mile from the UGA campus. He shared the apartment with his older brother Diego and younger brother Argenis. Jose and Diego were known to Athens police. Both had previously been arrested for shoplifting and theft cases. Most recently, in October 2023, stolen goods from a local Walmart were found in their possession. But, as per usual for the duo, they were released and failed to show up for their court dates. On Sunday, February 24th, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, otherwise known as ICE, issued the following statement regarding Jose Ibarra. Quote, U.S. Customs and Border Protection arrested Ibarra on September 8, 2022, after he unlawfully entered the United States near El Paso, Texas. He was paroled and released for further processing. End quote. That means that if the usual procedure was followed, several security checks were carried out, and Ibarra came out clean, and no crime record was found in international databases. However, according to information from Ibarra's parole file, he was only released due to a lack of detention space. Republican senators grilled Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas in a Homeland Security hearing in April about the details of Ibarra's parole. Even though a Venezuelan crime record is not mentioned anywhere, this certainly requires further investigation. The Homeland Security Secretary did not want to comment on details about the case because it is being prosecuted by authorities at the moment. To be continued, hopefully. So, Ibarra was granted parole and released to New York. He was expected to follow the immigration procedure through the court system. But the first time Ibarra popped up on the radar again was 1 year later. Some reports say New York police stated that he was driving an uninsured, unregistered car without a license with a 5-year-old child. Others state that he was riding a moped with the child, both not wearing helmets. In any case, Ibarra was arrested and charged with acting in a manner to injure a child. He was released on bail before ICE was notified and could detain him. Of course, Ibarra does not show up in court. Jose Ibarra had entered the U.S. with his 23-year-old wife Laken Franco and her 5-year-old son. They live in New York until the couple separates in November 2023. Ibarra moves to Georgia, where he joins his brothers, 28-year-old Diego and Argenis, 24. Laken describes her ex as a calm man who was never aggressive towards her. She has known Jose all her life and has trouble believing that he is guilty of the murder. She told the New York Post, quote, I have a lot of faith that this wasn't him, that there was a misunderstanding somewhere. But if he did, he has to pay for what he did. Truly. End quote. Jose's brother, Diego, followed almost the exact same route into the U.S. He illegally entered the country in 2023, claimed asylum, moved to New York and later to Georgia. He was arrested for the first time in September 2023 for driving under the influence and without a driver's license. He was released, but did not show up in court. Shortly after Laken's murder, UGA officials told Channel 2 Action News that Diego Ibarra had been briefly employed by the university. He was a campus dishwasher at one of the dining halls. The officials stated that Diego had used his fake green card to get the job, but did not submit the documentation to keep it. He was let go and did not receive payment. Federal prosecutors say they have reasons to believe Diego has ties to the Venezuelan Trendy Aragua gang. Several outlets mention his tattoos and the hand signals he makes in photos on his social media. Not exactly the kind of guy you would want to employ at a university. What a mess. I mean, with all those young kids. When hiring new personnel, you may assume an institution like a university does a proper background check. Unbelievable. Diego faces up to 10 years in prison, followed by up to 3 years of supervised release and a $250,000 fine for the fraudulent green card. He pled guilty to the federal charges on July 16th and will be sentenced in October. He remains in ICE custody till then. Little is known about the youngest Ibarra brother, Argenis, other than that he too had a fake green card, has been charged, and is currently in ICE custody as well. However, on August 9th, The New York Post reported that according to sources at Homeland Security, Argenis too has been identified as an active member of the violent Tren de Aragua gang. It seems to be a family affair, as the news outlet wrote. On Monday, February 27th, a student-organized vigil was held for Laken, and another student who had tragically passed away a day before Laken's murder. Fellow nursing students attended in their scrubs, and Laken's Alpha Chi Omega sorority sisters walked hand in hand and held flowers. The sorority president stated that the sisterhood had lost their brightest light.
It is so obvious to me why it feels so dark right now, and that is because we lost one of the brightest lights that there's ever been. This campus and our sisterhood will never be the same without Laken Riley. And Laken, we will love and remember you forever. LITB, thank you.
Laken was laid to rest on March 1st in Woodstock, Georgia, the Atlanta suburb where she lived before moving to Athens. A funeral service was held in Woodstock City Church. Approximately 1,000 people crammed into Laken's non-denominational church to honor the young woman who had brought nothing but light and love into this world. A GoFundMe fundraiser was set up to support the family with funeral expenses and to establish a scholarship in Laken's name and raise homicide awareness. The $35,000 goal of the fundraiser was met many times over and currently stands at well over $260,000. To this day, donations pour in. Of course, I will add the link in the description box for those who would like to donate. Meanwhile, all hell had broken loose in Georgia after the undocumented status of the Ibarra brothers was confirmed. The case quickly became national and even international news. The Republican Party was quick to hijack the case. They made Laken the face of what they see as President Biden's failing border security. On February 26th, Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp addressed Laken's murder in his speech at the Athens Chamber of Commerce. He called Laken's death a direct result of failed policies on a federal level and an unwillingness by the White House to secure the southern border. Donald Trump jumps on the bandwagon on February 29th and mentioned Laken's tragic death in a speech by the Mexican border. Laken, like other victims of undocumented immigrants, becomes a recurring subject during his rallies. We can't watch all Trump's speeches about Laken, but a few are noteworthy. This speech was probably the inspiration for Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene to come up with her infamous appearance during the State of the Union. We'll get to that in a bit, of course. But first, Trump.
1 week ago, a beautiful 22-year-old nursing student from Georgia was barbarically attacked, almost unrecognizable, while she was out on her morning run. She was doing keep herself in shape. She was a beautiful young woman. She was a great person, best nursing student there was. I spoke to her parents yesterday. They're incredible people. They're devastated beyond belief. But she was beautiful, just so beautiful in so many ways, and brutally assaulted, horrifically beaten, kidnapped, and savagely murdered. The monster that charged in the death is an illegal alien migrant who was led into our country and released into our communities by crooked Joe Biden. He's crooked. I took the name away from Hillary. Joe Biden will never say Laken Riley's name, but we will say it and we will remember it. We're not going to forget her.
On March 7th, a bill initiated by Republicans, called the Laken Riley Act, was passed in the House. The bill, among other things, would require ICE to detain undocumented migrants accused of committing theft-related crimes like shoplifting. Later that day, when President Joe Biden enters the House chamber to deliver his State of the Union speech, Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, wearing a red MAGA hat and pins on her lapel referring to Laken, hands him a white pin with Laken's name on it. She urges the president to, quote, say her name, end quote. The phrase is also printed on the t-shirt Taylor Greene is wearing. Yep, the phrase coined by black racial justice activists to draw attention to black women who have been subject to police brutality. Women whose name Taylor Greene probably does not even know, let alone asks attention for. Extremely inconsiderate and painful. During his address, Biden criticizes Republicans for blocking a bipartisan immigration bill. From that moment, Marjorie Taylor Greene continues to heckle the president and shouts the phrase, say her name, multiple times. And Biden does.
Laken Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
Afterwards, Republicans and Laken's mother slam Biden for mispronouncing her name as Lincoln. Democrats, on the other hand, criticize the president for describing Ibarra as an illegal instead of an undocumented immigrant. 2 days later, in an interview with NBC, Biden says he regrets having used the word illegal. He said that he should have used the word undocumented when he speaks about this group of people. A few days later, Donald Trump's rally tour touches down in the hometown of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Rome, Georgia. Laken's mom, stepfather, sisters, and other friends and family were present on Trump's invitation. I want to stress that I do not criticize the family's political choices. Not at all. We are living in a democracy. People are, thankfully, free to vote for whomever they want. I do find it incredibly distasteful to parade a grieving family during a political rally. With that out of the way, let's move on. During the rally, Trump mocks and slates Biden for mispronouncing Laken's name and for apologizing for using the term illegal. In his opinion, Biden apologized to the killer. Biden obviously did not. He apologized for using the term to address a group of human beings. Anyway, Trump goes on to blame and attack the current immigration policy. Let's look at some, highlights isn't the word, but you know what I mean. The whole speech is available on YouTube. I will add a link.
Thus, when this monster showed up at our border, he was set free immediately under the program that Crooked Joe created. I call it free to kill. It's free to kill. We are profoundly honored to be joined today by the family and loved ones of Laken and some of her great friends. I met them. They're so incredible. The whole group is incredible. He got Laken's name wrong, calling her Lincoln. No, mixing her up with the football coach, right? We vowed to keep Laken's memory alive for as long as we are here on this earth, and we take comfort that she is now home with God in heaven. And I want to thank you, and thank you for being here. What Joe Biden has done on our border is a crime against humanity and the people of this nation for which he will never be forgiven. That's a very hard thing. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it fast. We're going to have the largest deportation in history. But what a tremendous shame that this could have happened in our country.
During the meet and greet with Laken's family, Trump autographed a photo of Laken for them. He wrote, "I love you, Laken." Yep. Lakan. The mainstream media did not make much fuss about this spelling mistake. The internet was on fire, though. Many people were disgusted by Trump posing, smiling from ear to ear, while holding a photo of a murder victim. Others made fun of the spelling mistake since Trump had so demonstratively mocked and slated Biden for mispronouncing Laken's name. Laken's father, Jason, who was not present at the rally, but like her mother Allison publicly said he supports Trump, expressed that he is angered by seeing his daughter's death politicized. In an interview with NBC's Today Show, he said,
"I feel like she's being used somewhat politically."
How do you feel about that?
It makes me angry. She was much better than that. She should be raised up for the person that she is.
This does not mean he disagrees with the root cause of her death. After the Georgia State Senate honored Laken in a session on March 20th, Jason addressed the senators and asked for immigration reform. I personally find the shameless use of Laken's horrible death for votes extremely disrespectful. You can't Google Laken's name without drowning in the U.S. immigration debate. Especially because there is no proof that illegal immigration sparks an increase in crime. It is, factually, the opposite. Yes, of course, had Jose Ibarra not been in the U.S., Laken would most likely be alive today. But blaming illegal immigration for tragedies like Laken's is just plain and simple wrong. Economics professor at Stanford University, Ron Abramitsky, states in his report on the subject that research between 1870 and 2020 shows that immigrants, whether legal or not, commit far fewer crimes than native-born Americans. There is even proof that most areas with a higher level of migrants have lower crime rates. Of course, I will add some links to the big pile of credible, peer-reviewed research that supports these claims. The real cause for Laken's death is male violence against women. That is what we should be talking about. That is not just my opinion. This too is backed up by mountains of research. Or just ask a few women, big chance you'll get the same answer. Let's take a look at what some female runners, like Laken, say. According to a 2023 survey by Adidas among 9,000 female runners in 9 countries, a staggering 92% of those were concerned about their safety. And 51% of them reported that they worried about being physically attacked while out on their run, compared to 28% of men. Remember when I said that Laken did everything right when she went for her jog? It is actually quite strange to say that. Women should be able to go out freely, whenever and wherever they want. It is ridiculous what women have to do just to go out for a run. Women describe how they run during daylight only, with their keys or pepper spray in hand, ready to defend themselves. They cover themselves up to not attract attention from men. They run with friends to form a pack. Earbuds are left at home to be able to hear a possible attacker approaching. They inform family or friends where they will be and how long it should take. This is just truly heartbreaking. A 2017 Runner's World survey of 2,000 women yielded similar findings, and found that 6% had felt threatened by harassment while running to such an extent that they feared for their lives. Seriously, feared for their lives. We're talking about women going out for a run, not swimming with sharks or skydiving. And, unfortunately, but unsurprisingly, 90% of the women who responded to these surveys indicated that all forms of harassment had come from men. True, most men do not harm or murder women, but most women are harmed and or killed by men. And that is the problem, not immigration status. Focusing on immigration reform to lower crime is not the solution, because it isn't the cause. But male violence against women does not haul in votes. We don't hear politicians about Sydney Sutherland, an Arkansas runner who was kidnapped, raped, and killed by an American-born man in 2020. A farmer even. An all-American boy. I did not see any of them wearing a t-shirt for Eliza Fletcher, Laura Smither, or the hundreds of thousands of other women that find their deaths at the hands of American-born and raised men. Immigration is the hot topic. Again. So, we do hear about Molly Tibbetts, Kate Steinle, and Ruby Garcia, who were sadly all murdered by undocumented immigrants, even when the victims' family request not to politicize their deaths. In the case of Ruby Garcia, Trump claimed to have spoken with her family.
Now Ruby's loved ones and community are left grieving for this incredible young woman, remembering what they called her. They said she had just this most contagious laughter, and when she walked into a room, she lit up that room. And I've heard that from so many people. I spoke to some of her family.
Ruby's family, however, denies to have communicated with Trump or his team. How low can you go? And, worse, it is working, and probably won't change anytime soon either. A recent Pew Research poll shows that 57% of Americans said the large number of migrants seeking to enter the country leads to more crime. Jose Ibarra was detained in Clark County Jail, and bail was denied. New indictment documents were filed on May 7th. In the documents, Ibarra is accused of seriously disfiguring Laken's head by striking it multiple times with a rock. Also included were additional charges for aggravated assault with intent to rape, tampering with evidence, and a peeping Tom charge. This peeping Tom charge is related to a separate incident, but it took place on the same day that Laken was killed. According to police, Ibarra spied on a female University of Georgia staff member at her apartment at the UGA Village housing complex, across the street from where Laken was running when she was killed. Ibarra lived just a few minutes from where he, allegedly, killed Laken. Neighbors told police that he would always sit quietly outside his apartment, watching. Ibarra is innocent until proven guilty, so what follows is based on what police think what happened and accuse Ibarra of. Police think that Laken cut through Ibarra's neighborhood on her way to the Lake Herrick area. Ibarra may have seen her before. Perhaps he even knew her schedule and route. In any case, he was on familiar grounds. All he had to do was to follow her and strike at the right moment. Laken must have seen him coming for her. She dialed 911. But nothing could save her at this point. It is this moment that I have not been able to get out of my mind since I started working on Laken's case. I don't even have words for the fear she must have felt. She was dragged off the trail into a more secluded, wooded area. Perhaps Laken put up a fight and Ibarra panicked. Although he is accused of spying on the UGA staff member on the same day as well. Again, he is innocent until proven guilty. But if he indeed is the killer, it seems clear that he was on the hunt for a victim. And then there was Laken, running alone into the woods. I so dislike the term, because somehow it sounds too optimistic. But this was, indeed, a crime of opportunity. Ibarra seemingly did not put much thought into it. For instance, he has been caught on neighborhood security cameras. A number of neighbors have handed over security cam footage to the police. In one case, Ibarra is said to be seen by the waste dumpsters, disposing of bloody clothes. This footage has, of course, not been released by the police. We do not know what the other cameras caught, but it looks like he will have a hard time explaining just the bloody clothes. However, Ibarra pleaded not guilty during his plea hearing on May 31st. Laken's mom sobbed when his lawyer entered the plea. The pain must be unbearable. To have to sit and watch the man accused of killing your child, calmly listening to his translator, just a few feet away. Grueling. The prosecutor will not seek the death penalty against Ibarra, but a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. If found guilty, I personally hope he will indeed spend the rest of his life in prison. That may actually be worse than the death penalty. On Friday, August 2nd, Ibarra appeared in court for a status hearing. Judge Patrick Haggard said he is looking to begin trial on November 18th. I will be following this case closely and update during or after the trial. Let's hope justice will be served for Laken and her family and friends. I wish them strength, love, and peace during this dark time in their lives. Thank you so much for watching Laken's story. I really appreciate it, as always. Please do not send hate to anybody mentioned in this video. Rather, please do something that brings you joy and happiness. Life is too short not to try and enjoy every minute of it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and be safe. If you liked this video, please give it a like. Share it with someone who would appreciate it. It would be amazing if you'd follow the channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. Thank you. All right, over and out. Bye.